As Israel continues its military offensive in Gaza, political leaders are preparing to defend its actions in court.
Tomorrow, the State of Israel will appear before the International Court of Justice to dispel South Africa's absurd blood libel.
We know apartheid when we see apartheid.
South Africa is accusing Israel of genocide at the International Court of Justice. Its ruling party has long been at odds with Israel's government and championed the Palestinian cause. It wants the court to intervene now.
The binding obligation of the State of Israel to immediately suspend its military operations in and against Gaza.
Nice to see you.
But Israel's most powerful ally, the U.S., doesn't agree.
The charge of genocide is meritless.
The Canadian government hasn't taken a position. A promised statement wasn't released by end of day. The issue is dividing the Liberal caucus. MPs Anthony Housefather and Marco Mendicino have called the genocide claims baseless and unconscionable. But Scarborough MP Salma Zaid wants Canada to support South Africa's case. The case against Israel points to statements by Israeli leaders as evidence of intent to kill or displace Palestinians. The Israeli government is taking the allegations seriously.
The fact that Israel is also appearing before the court already shows that it will not ignore the ICJ fully. It has an interest in trying to show the world that it wants to comply with international law.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appeared to respond to comments by some in his own cabinet calling for Gaza's 2 million Palestinians to be sent to other countries.
Israel has no intention of permanently occupying Gaza or displacing its civilian population. Israel is fighting Hamas terrorists, not the Palestinian population. And we are doing so in full compliance with international law.
So, Evan, the hearings begin tomorrow at The Hague. Can you give us a sense of what could come of it?
Well, final decision on genocide probably years away. But in the meantime, South Africa is hoping to get an injunction right now ordering Israel to suspend its campaign in Gaza. That's something that Israel could, of course, ignore. But it might be more difficult for the United States to ignore. And it might make it more complicated for the U.S., for example, to veto another ceasefire resolution at the UN Security Council. It could also make it more difficult for the U.S. to continue to supply the bombs that Israel is dropping on Gaza. And of course, in the long run, if that genocide charge were to be upheld, that would be severe reputational damage for Israel. And that's why we see Israeli leaders determined to contest this case and not just ignore it.
All right, Evan Dyer in Ottawa, thank you.
Thanks, Adrienne.